Everybody, welcome to my Astonishing channel, Astonishing History channel, and today we are going to discover and explore about why did King James the and the First didn't save his mother Queen Mary of Scots, and who was he? And he was the first Stuart ruler after Queen Elizabeth the First. How did he rule from 1604 to 1625? Now, in 1587, Queen Mary of Scots was beheaded by Queen Elizabeth I just because she wanted to took over the throne by Elizabeth I. Now, in 1558, after Elizabeth's sister, stepsister, Queen Mary I was dead. She died in 1558. Queen Mary I. Queen Elizabeth I took the throne from 1558 to 1603, the longest Tudor reign until 44 years of her reign. Now, in 1587, when Queen Mary of Scots wanted to take over the throne, she had optimized that the Queen Elizabeth is my cousin and I should take over the throne. However, for the first part, this is an introduction to the story, but for the first part is that the King James I and the VI of Scotland and England, he wrote a letter to Queen Elizabeth I that leave my mother alone. Leave my mother alone, and she had not committed a sin at all. She just forgive her only. Forgive her and please that I will call you for madam. He started with the word madam, Majesty, madam, please forgive her, my mother, that she had committed a sin, but she has not committed a sin. I mean, she had, but she hadn't to commit a sin just because she had a crime on the court. But James VI and the First of England and Scotland had to admit it that her mother was the victim of getting executed by the throne. Therefore, James' parents, Henry Stuart and Mary Queen of Scots, were both traitors to capture Elizabeth I in detail. Now, for that, King James was stuck and he was frozen by this thing at the point that when Queen Elizabeth I had gave King James a permission to be king, King James I had to scroll down by his brain, and he had to learn to save his mother, but he couldn't save his mother first of all. Because of that, when King James VI had the permission and the right to become king after Queen Elizabeth's death in 1604, so King James VI wrote the letter, but it didn't came to any hope. Second of all, King James had promised Queen Elizabeth I that he will be king after Elizabeth's death, and after Elizabeth's death he will rule from 1604 to 1625. Now, King James VI had tried to help his mother, but unfortunately, he couldn't help his mother. The third point is that when King James was only 10 months old, Queen Mary, Queen of Scotland, was in jail. Not until the age of 19-20 years when King James VI and the First of England and Scotland was growing up. Now, when King James King James VI and the First of England became king, and he grew until the age of 20 years old. His mother was quite old, obviously. So he wrote the letter at that day when he became 20 years old. He wrote the letter to Queen Elizabeth I to release his mother, and let's forgive her. But this didn't come at all. So, however, this is the incident of James his mother, and Elizabeth, Mary's cousin. So, in this point, we do not know because historians do not discover much about it. Then why the King James the and the First couldn't save his mother, Queen Mary of Queen of Scots, and why was she executed? Now, the execution part is that when Queen Elizabeth the First had caught Queen Mary of Scots, she also had admitted and she also had evidence to spoke about Queen Mary the First of Queen Mary of Scots and Henry Stuart. So these two parents of King James II and the First were both executed at the time, and the following year after, the Spanish Armada had started by Philip II and Queen Elizabeth I. So today's video was about King James VI, and later on, when King James VI became king, he ruled from 1604 to 1625. After 1625, his son Charles began to rule not until the year 1649, which we covered this in another video called the English Civil War from 1642 to 1649. So I hope you like the story today, and I hope you like the story now. Please subscribe it, like it, and share it. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.